In 2023, we're going to see car deals get way more aggressive, but I got some bad news. We are not going to see car lease numbers improve. You guys, did you know that how aggressive your lease could be is highly dependent on what money factor or interest rate you're being charged on your lease? Did you know that? In this video, what I'm going to do is explain why 2023 is going to be such a terrible year for leasing out a car and why you should just stick to buying one. What is happening, guys? Ari here from negotiationguides.com. In the description below, you're going to find various resources to help you navigate the car buying process. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because this whole channel is going to give you everything you're going to need to know so that you can negotiate your best possible deal. You guys, before we get into business, two quick messages. If you're looking for my anxiety channel, my anxiety content, it's in its own separate channel now. I'm going to put a link to Anxiety Explored in the description below. Also, there is a huge humanitarian crisis taking place in my motherland. My ancestral homeland of Armenia is in dire straits. Please, I put a link in the description where you fill out a quick form that gets shot over to your congressman, letting them know of the blockade that's currently limiting access to 120,000 people to vital necessities. Please, let's forget saving a couple bucks on your auto lease for 2 seconds and help out 120,000 people that are facing a very, very cold winter. Diving right in, you guys. So one of the key factors that make auto leasing so aggressive is that because manufacturers have a harder time selling cars than they do leasing cars, typically what they like to do is incentivize keeping these cars rolling, keeping these cars just constantly selling and replenishing, selling used cars, replenishing those, etc. In order to facilitate that and to see cars moving at the rate that they were moving, they have to incentivize by charging little to no interest on leasing, as well as throwing rebates on leases to make sure that the payment is attractive enough where you're constantly coming and clicking the refresh button every 3 years. Right now, because they're not having any trouble getting these cars off the lots and they're having trouble keeping them produced altogether, keeping them rolling off the assembly line altogether, they don't need to incentivize it. They can charge the high interest and they don't need to give you rebates because, quite frankly, I don't think they even want to see you in 3 years because they're probably thinking they're probably going to have enough people they're going to see in 3 years. The way that this is going to change, the way that 2023 is going to be a little bit different, they're expecting residual values on cars to go down because there's going to be a ton of used cars hitting the market that are just going to go stale. They're just going to sit there and they're just going to drive down car values altogether. Another major reason why this is going to change, interest rates are going to go up dramatically. And what's going to happen is if you don't have good credit, this is basically going to stop you from being able to qualify for a lease altogether. High interest rates and really low residuals, very, very bad lease deals, you guys. That's the formula altogether. Residual and money factor makes lease payment. If the residual is high and the interest rate is low, you got a very, very low lease payment. If the residual is low but the interest rate is high, you got a really crappy lease payment. I want you to look for these signs for a better lease deal in 2023. Look for the cars that have a lower demand than its competitors. This is going to allow for more rebates, lower APR. That's going to translate to a little bit more of an aggressive lease payment. If it's not immediately clear which lease deals are better than others or which ones seem to be a little bit more aggressive APR than others, look for the APR offer on the purchase side of things and inquire further on those vehicles that have promotional APR offers if you're going to buy. Most of the time, if there's a promotional APR for purchases, they usually lower the interest rate for leases as well. Look for brands that have the option to buy down the interest rate using what's known as multiple security deposits. Multiple security deposits lower the money factor or the interest rate by you putting down multiple payments up front as a deposit against the lease, bringing down the interest rate. They're going to hate this, but ask the finance department for what's known as a payment saver loan. Credit unions typically offer this, and it allows for a different kind of lease where you can't just turn in the car at the end, but you have a balloon payment at the end. This is also a viable option when interest rates are really, really high. Last, but most importantly, ask them for the money factor. If you've got the money, but you're also conscious about not overpaying on interest, you need to know what the interest rate is on this lease. Ask them for the money factor, multiply it by 2,400 to convert that money factor into the APR on the lease. Is the APR at or below the actual market APR being offered for that car? The average APR right now for the typical consumer, it's about 5 to 6%. If you got really, really good credit, rates are as low as probably around 4. If your credit's decent, it's probably going to be in the 6 or the 7s. If your money factor times 2,400 is very, very far away from whatever the current promotional APRs are, get the heck away from that car. You guys, again, in the description below, you're going to find various resources to help you navigate the car buying process. Again, if you could help us out, use the link in the description below to contact your senators and reps to let them know of the emergency taking place in Armenia. If you found this information useful, please consider subscribing. Click right here, will you? Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.